So I'm in student mode, and you guys have access to week 3 now. Week 2 has been taken down, and this is the trend that will follow every week, every module, unless there is a week. I think there's at least one module that consists of 2 weeks. That's later in the semester, and we'll discuss that later. So this week you have structure of an argument quiz and of course annotated bibliography. You notice you don't have too much work this week. This is because the annotated bibliography is going to be time consuming. It is going to require a lot of research. So my recommendation is don't wait until Sunday afternoon or even Friday afternoon. Start working on this as soon as you have some time available. I have already created 2 videos. One is the annotated bibliography lectures. I'm not going to launch the video, but if you launch it, this one is the lecture video. And then I also have a watch the annotated bibliography instructions video. I go into details on what I expect from this assignment and how to format it and all those details. So I'm not going to go into those details. One of the elements that was not added into either one of these videos was that the new requirement to add a thesis statement to your bibliography. And the reason I want you to have this thesis on top of your annotated bibliography is kind of what we discussed last week about our quiz, where this question was kind of missed, where it said, is it helpful to develop a thesis before we start working on our paper or our assignment? And the answer was yes, it is helpful. It works as a roadmap. It works as a guide. It keeps us in place instead of being all over the place. So that's why I'm asking you to add a thesis statement. It will give you a better idea of what you're getting to through this whole project, okay? Now, is this going to be your final thesis statement? No, it's just a working thesis statement. A working thesis statement means you will keep changing it as you gather more information, as you develop the assignment further, and as you develop your essay. Let's look at how this example is formatted and how you are going to format your assignment. Again, you start with your running header, your last name and page number. So what you do to add a running header is basically you take your cursor all the way up to the top of the document, double click it, and the whole header area opens, and this automatically, your ribbon here changes. And here are your options to add a header, footer, and a page number. And because we need a page number that automatically changes with each page, we don't actually use the header option. We use the page number option, top of the page, and we want it in the right corner. That is the third option on my document. And I think it's mostly the same for everybody, but I could be wrong. So there you go. There we have a number now, but we also need the student's last name. So you add that, click out of it. Now you'll see automatically each page will continually have your last name and page number, okay? And then comes the title block. This will always be formatted in the same style as long as you're using MLA. Your name, last name, professor's last name, your course number, and section. Section is important. And date will be formatted in this way, day, month, and year. The beauty of this method is you don't have to worry about punctuation. Where does the comma go? Okay. There is the other option where you can do September 8th, comma, 2020 in space. Okay. This is also the correct way to do the date, but in this case, sometimes the students miss the comma or put 2 commas or don't know where the comma goes. So the simpler and easier way is just do it day, month, and year. No worries about where the punctuation goes. Next, you will have your proposed thesis statement. And my recommendation is, yes, give it a small title and call it your proposed thesis statement. But however, if you don't title it this way, there's no point deduction. But if there's no thesis, there's absolutely going to be point deductions, okay? and throw in your thesis over there. At this point, you don't have to worry about, oh, what if I change it later? Yes, you are supposed to. I expect you to change it, okay? Argumentative thesis statement will mostly generate from a need for exigency. What is an exigency? Exigency is the need for an action. Why do I have to do something? Why do I care enough to do something? Okay. And if you don't develop this need for your audience, they won't care. Like, let's say, write me a paper and you say that the weather's getting warmer and warmer, and okay, all right, thanks for letting me know. Why should I care? That's the point. You need your audience to care. You want them to care. How would they care? You have to show them how this disaster is going to lead into destruction, and that destruction, which is also going to involve the individual you're talking to, the community you're discussing, the world whole wide. So whatever your scope is, you need to let them know, I'm not just discussing this in a void. There is a reason. There is a specific need for an action, and an immediate action within a time frame, that depends on what your topic is. In my explanation here, I kept saying, I feel the need, or there is a need, you need to work on it, we need to work on it. But the point I'm bringing up is stay away from first and second person speech, okay? Right, and third person, this is also discussed in the lecture notes, so there's nothing that you will miss on it. And the idea is, why should your audience care, okay? You want them to care, why? Okay, that's the logical reasoning. Ethos, logos, and pathos, we're gonna write a whole paper on rhetorical analysis, and we're gonna discuss how our author uses these elements in his or her work. But remember, even your work, knowingly or unknowingly, you are using these elements all the time. So it's better to actually know that you are using them. So ethos is you showing credibility, which I discussed last time, because you as students are not experts in the field, or not anyone is expert in every field. Like if I'm to talk about writing, yes, I can talk about it because that's my expertise, but I am even a strong speaker or writer if I support what I'm saying with evidence coming from other people who are also experts in the field, okay? In your case, your students, and maybe some of you are in the nursing school, some of you are in the business school, but now you're writing a paper that doesn't have to really do with your expertise. So again, bring in evidence to show ethos, okay? Logos, logical reasoning. I need to do this. Excuse me, why? Tell me why. Why do I need to do this? Logical reasoning will come and support. And the easiest way to do argumentative thesis statement is to add a because clause, okay? I'm trying to look at this one quickly. Through excessive and careless use of pesticides, humans have poisoned their habitat, resulting in a buildup of adverse pollutants that have exposed mankind to deadly diseases and birth defects. Now, this thesis statement does not have a because clause. A because clause is usually where you're asking for an action. But this is a beautiful thesis statement telling you what's wrong. Through excessive and careless use of pesticides, humans have poisoned their habitat. Okay, why should I care? Because if you don't do anything, this is resulting in built-up and adverse pollutants that have exposed mankind to deadly diseases and birth defects. Now I'm interested. What kind of birth defects are you talking about? Is this going to affect my generation? Is this going to affect my future generations? I want to hear more about this, okay? What deadly diseases are you talking about? This is how you grab attention. Some writers call it the hook. This is your hook. This is how you hook your audience. You want to tell them, I'm talking about something that's going to impact everyone. This assignment or these 5 assignments that we are doing are all related to the quantitative analysis packet. This is the second assignment of the packet. You've already done the graphics creation assignment. So to understand these assignments better, you have to read the actual final product assignment, which is the quantitative analysis or quantitative literacy research paper. Okay, so if you look at that paper, you'll notice that that essay is asking for you to use 7 sources, 7 reliable sources to support the points you're making in that essay. But this bibliography assignment is only asking you for 5 sources because you already did the other 2 of it, the other assignment. Those 2 plus these 5, you will have 7 sources, okay? If at any point you feel like the 2 sources I use in my graphics creation assignment, I think I have better sources now, or I don't want to use these anymore, I want to change one or the other, you have the freedom to do that. Amongst these 5, I want to see at least one of your source discussing numeric data. Now, didn't you already do that with the graphics creation? Yes, you did. But with the graphics creation assignment, the requirement was that your data has to be in a tabular, raw tabular form where you use that tabular data to create your graphs. But this time, I'm not asking for the data to be in a graph form or a table form. No, I just want to have you gather information or research that supports your claims with numeric evidence. Let's go back to the weather change. Now, if I find a source that says that the warming of weather has caused, I'm just going to throw a number. This has nothing to do with research. Let's say 60% of the glaciers to melt. Now, this is a good evidence I want to use in my paper. Now, of course, I can't just pick a random source and use it. It has to be a reliable source. Let's say a nice scientific journal discusses this matter. And then I will pull that up. I will add my attribution tag. Like I discussed last time, I can't just say, Dr. White discusses this. Okay, doctor itself tells you that this person has some educational background, but Dr. White, in what field? Dr. White could be just another writing instructor like I am, but I'm talking about these scientific events. So give your author's credentials, okay? Add an attribution tag, add that numeric support to your paper, and then give it a parenthetical citation. So one of your sources has to provide that numeric support, okay? Second requirement is that one of your source should discuss counter argument. Why counter argument? Why? I know what I'm talking about, I know what I want to say, but why counter argument? If you looked at my lecture notes, in a classical argument, one of the steps is to bring in concession and is to bring in refutation into your argument. If you go to They Say, I Say lecture, I even have the video here, you will see how I discuss about how an argument doesn't take place in vacuum. There has to be some kind of a discussion, a conflict, a opinion going on. So watch that video. It'll give you more information on my argument. This is what I'm arguing. But before I can argue as a strong arguer, I need to know what they're saying. What is their opinion? Maybe there's something they are saying that is going to appeal to me. Maybe there's something they're saying that I agree with. Maybe there's something they're saying that I absolutely disagree with. And that's where you draw your strength from. You use that point, that counter argument, and you refute it. That's what you base your argument on. Now that's what refutation is. The definition of refutation is refutation recognizes and disapproves the opposing point of view that you disagree with. Okay. So that is why it is very important to know what the counter argument has to say. And most of the times students or anyone, even when I write an article, I want to know, I want to be more informed before I can even have an idea of what I want to argue about. Yes, everybody has a whole built-in idea, have been, bombarded with all these ideas through community, through news, and through school and everything. Yes, we have our opinions, but an informed opinion, an informed argument, I want to go in with an open mind, read both sides of the issue, and then maybe change what I originally had as a thought in my mind, or I can still go on with it, but now I am more strong about what I want to say. I am even more sure. Okay, so that's refutation. Concession, on the other hand, the definition is concession admits the opposing points you agree with and shows why this concession does not damage your argument. Okay, so always just saying and debunking the counter argument and saying, hey, you guys have this flaw or your argument has that flaw is not just the only way or the best way. Even concession means, okay, you know what? That argument has a valued point, it does not make your argument weak, okay? But in doing so, you have to do it a bit carefully. You don't want to contradict your argument. Sometimes students fall in that direction where they're thinking, oh, concession, I'm adding concession to my argument right now, but what they end up doing is contradicting themselves. If you go back to the definition that I just discussed, it says you agree with and show why this concession does not damage your argument, okay? You can say that is a strong point and we can further develop this point by whatever you want to add to that argument, okay? Or you can say, this is a valid point, however, it hasn't really worked, okay? So you took their strong point, you didn't say, hey, that's not worth discussing. You said it is valid. It was a good thing that this point was discussed by the counter argument, but there are still flaws that need to be fixed. Now, just saying there are flaws is not enough. As a good arguer, you are going to try to propose how we can better those ideas.
So you said if there was flaws, if we point out the flaws and argue against them, that's not enough. So say if there's valid points in there, what do we do against those to refute their arguments that are valid and very strong?
Refutation, if you just refute in your argument, that's enough. It doesn't mean that that's not enough, okay? In concession, you don't have to say, this is a valid point, but I'm going to refute it. No, you can give credit to it. You can even say this is a valid point that would even bring strength to my argument. You don't really have to contradict a concession. That's what concession is. I'm agreeing with you, okay? And it could be either or in your argument, or you could do both. The idea is when you refute or you concede, you are showing that you are a well-informed writer and you don't have a bias. Okay, if I keep on saying something is bad, or something's good, I might have a bias and I'm not thinking about the other side. Instead of pretending like another side does not exist to your argument, it is better to address it and either debunk it or concede the opposition. And we already discussed what debunking is and what conceding is. So this will be what makes your argument stronger than the others, okay? I know a lot of students, they do thesis statement, nice introductory paragraph, nice supporting paragraphs, and everything is there, but the counter argument has not been even addressed, okay? This is where you get the slight edge over the other papers, okay? So one of your sources in your annotated bibliography will be a source that discusses the counter argument. This annotated bibliography assignment, I want you to divide your annotation into 3 paragraphs. It's 4 categories. The first is your citation. The second is your summary. The third is your assessment of the source. And then it is your reflection. What are these 3 categories? Of course, citation, we know, and we've already discussed APA style, and this week MLA style is also open. Cite your source, APL or MLA style. In this case, this is MLA. And then you summarize the article. Do not read just the summary or the abstract and try to give me a summary. Please read the whole article. Sometimes the articles are long, but still read them. Read maximum information that you can get from them. Okay, summary should be short, and that's why I was bringing up the assignment prompt, because that discusses what section should be how many words. So I have it written down over here. So summary, and basically all the sections about 150 words. Can you go over? Yes, but remember, this is a summary. Don't go like 500 words. 150 words is the minimum range. So summarize the source. Next is assess. So when you're assessing, you're doing two things. One, you're looking at, of course, you're reading, is this even worth, or is this even in alignment with what I'm trying to say in my argument? That obviously, but you're also looking for, is the author sounding trustworthy, or is this a very biased article? Because for you to be trustworthy, for you to be a good arguer, you want to get a source that's trustworthy. Okay, that's why we don't use this random open sources. We use our databases sources. We use sources that are pre-reviewed, that are scholarly. Okay, so look for that information, and then look for your author's credentials. Is this author who's been in the field for a while? Is this someone, or is this piece been cited by others? And more than everything else, is this article citing others? Okay, no matter how expert you become, you still need to support your arguments. You still need to support your piece, your paper, with evidence from other sources or other experts. Okay, so in assessing, you will look at all that stuff. If you look over here, it's talking about how she has a PhD and what her credentials are. That information can go here. And why are we doing this? This is an easy step, doesn't take too long. And what happens now, all of a sudden you have all the information you're going to need to put in your attribution tag. Again, don't make your attribution tags too lengthy, but enough information for your readers to know that he knows, this author knows what information to share, and the information they're sharing is from a reliable source. Okay, so that's what this is. Again, this paragraph will also be about 150 words. The last paragraph will be your reflection. In your reflection, you're going to decide how you're going to use this particular piece, particular article to support your claims. Okay, whether you're going to use it for numeric findings, whether you're going to use it for debunking the argument, or it's just logical support that you're going to get from that particular article. So this paragraph will be about 70 to 100 words. Okay, this is a shorter paragraph because we briefly will discuss how I'm going to use this article in my own work. Okay, so your paper, your assignment will be formatted just like that. You will start the citation from the left margin, and then everything will be indented by one tab. And notice that the actual citation is double spaced, but the paragraphs are not, they're single spaced, and it's double spaced within paragraphs. Okay, so exactly try to format your paper, your assignment based on what you're looking at in this example. Okay, and there's two, there's a third source, there's a fourth source, and there's the fifth source. Okay, now when it comes to your actual essay, you don't have to provide me the whole annotation or annotated bibliography at the end of the source. You just have to provide me the works title list. So you just give me the citations. This all will go with. This is basically for you. This will, if you do this step, you're good to go. You know what's going to go into your paper. But unfortunately, sometimes, and I don't blame the students, it's just how time works and the time management works. they try to just copy and paste these. There's already a thesis statement. There's already what this particular article is talking about, and they paste it into a Word document and they submit it. Guess what? It doesn't do the work. Okay, you have done the hard work. Put in some more time. Develop an actual essay instead of just copying and pasting this information onto a new document. We are only doing one assignment this week, and it is a lengthy assignment, 5 sources, and don't just pick the first 5 you see. Take some time. Even if you don't want to read the whole article, look at the title, look at who the author is, read the abstract, read the summary, and see if this is somewhere, this particular source is going in the direction you want your argument to go. If so, now read the full text, now read the full article, and then annotate it. And if just looking at the summary and abstract feels like, no, this is not, then of course you'll go to the next source. So don't wait till the last minute, because otherwise it will show. This assignment obviously requires a lot of research, and I don't expect everyone to know how to use the databases and how to conduct research. And week 3 module, under the lecture notes or the video lectures, if you look at conducting research, I'm not going to launch the video, but when you launch the video, the first 10 minutes of the video talks about what are reliable sources and how do you assess whether something's reliable or not. You can watch the whole thing, it is helpful, or you can skip the first 10 minutes and go to how to use the databases. I was actually also going to show you what Google Scholar is and how to use Google Scholar. So this is just a Google page, Google homepage. You can either click on Google Scholar or type in Google Scholar and get to Google Scholar, or if you click on these dots over here, it lists different items that are available to you, but you'll notice Google Scholar is not there. You have to click on more from Google, something new Google has added. You need to skip all that, scroll down, and this is where the menu is. Go down, keep going here. That's the menu, okay? And you're looking for Scholar, and here you go, Google Scholar, okay? Easier way is to do it, just do a Google search and you go to Google Scholar, okay? Now search Scholar. The reason I bring this up for my students is because they're very familiar with how to use Google. Typed in your search term and you have options. You have books, but I don't want to use a book. I want to use an article. Now this seems like it's an article. Let's click on that. And the best part is it's already telling me that there's a PDF file available. Okay, if that's the case, it's awesome. You can open the PDF file, and first, for us to make sure, yes, we are using Google Scholar, but is this an academically scholarly source? The test is scroll all the way down and see if your author has used other sources, which we know by looking at if there are endnotes, if there is a reference list, if there is a works cited list, and in this case, we do a list of these endnotes. Okay, so this actually tells us this is a scholarly source and it is okay to use it. Okay, so simple as that. It's basically using Google. Okay, but it's Google Scholar. But let's say you did Google Scholar and found something you want to use, but when you click on it, it doesn't have the PDF of the article. It doesn't open the full article. What do I do now? What you can do is copy the title from here and go into your UTSA databases. They have a search engine there. Plug in this title into that search engine and do the search. This should come up. If it doesn't come up, something related would come up. Or you can search by putting the author's names. That even narrows it further down because there could be other articles with very similar title. Okay, I'm going to make this quick, and I want more students to get involved. This is a works cited list. I want to fix it. Help me fix it. What do you think? We're going to format it. I'm talking about format at this point, not where the comma goes, what's underlined, where the quotation marks go, not that part. How will I format this assignment in MLA style? Please help me.
Double space it.
You want me to double space it? Okay, how do I do that?
You click on in the paragraph section right there where there's like the lines and then the arrows going opposite ways.
Paragraph section with the 2 arrows vertical.
So here, are you seeing what I'm doing? Can you see the window? Paragraph window?
Yep.
Okay, so you want me to click double here?
Yep.
Okay, so what we did is I'm going to X out again. So highlighted the area, click on it, went to paragraph, and in paragraph under spacing, it's set to single right now. I went to double, okay? And then click. Now all of a sudden everything is double spaced. Now what else? Do you think this is in the right format?
No.
It needs a hanging indent.
Hanging indent, I hear. Okay, how do I do that?
Highlight it again and then right click.
Okay.
You're gonna go to paragraph again and special.
Under special, under indentation, under special. Thank you so much, both of you. You go to hanging, and now you will have our hanging indent. Trust me, this is one thing a lot of students struggle with, okay? And sometimes you have a wonderfully hanging indent going on, but all of a sudden there's a source where you cannot do it. My recommendation is go back, highlight, and undo what's been done, okay? Put this to single, put this to a 0, put this to a 0, okay? Put this to none, and then 0, 0, and then go from there again. All of a sudden, we're back to where we were, right? But it's easy fix. Going back, and here we did hanging indent, and here we did double space, and then okay, and then the hanging indent works, okay? What else?
You need to arrange the citations in alphabetical order by the last name.
Yes, 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 definitely. I purposely placed this down there, and I was like, let's see if somebody catches that one, because some of you, when you did the graphics creation assignment, some of you didn't have it in alphabetic order. So yes, wonderful. You will have the list in alphabetic order by the author's last name. If you don't have the author's last name, the next thing, like I said, you do list the title of the article. So you will still continue putting it in the alphabetic order, okay? What else is missing? We're talking about complete format. What's missing now? It could be the format of the document at this point.
Isn't there supposed to be a running header?
Yes, you need to add a running header. And how do we do that?
You double click on the top of the page.
Double click here. I get to which header, footer, which one am I using?
Page number.
Page number, awesome. Thank you so much. Top of the page. I want it on the right, and last name, and there's a running header. Is there anything else missing at this point?
A title for the page.
Definitely. Thank you so much. And what's the title going to be? Is it references?
I believe it's works cited.
Works cited. Because it's in MLA style. Anything wrong right now?
And then it needs to be in the center of the page.
Needs to be centered. There you go. Now you have a works cited page that you can submit and get good credit for. Okay? You have all the information. It's in alphabetic order. And it's got the hanging indent, and everything is double spaced, it's titled, and it's got the running head going on, and this is how works cited page works. Any questions at this point?
For this week's main assignment, we're going to be using APA or MLA.
It's optional.
Okay.
It is optional. The example that you see is in MLA format. So if you are the kind who needs to have a sample in front of you, because I'm that way, and that's why I always provide a sample for my students, you know, then that sample is in MLA. But if you want to do APA, that's fine. And you can email me at any time. I will reply. I will try to provide you the best possible solution. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys.